When you're done, okay. Welcome to meeting number 115 of the House of Commons Standing Committee on Public Safety and National Security. Before we begin, I would like to ask all members and other in-person participants to consult the cards on the table for guidelines to prevent audio feedback incidents. Please take note of the following preventative measures in place to protect the health and safety of all participants, including the interpreters. Only use a black approved earpiece. The former gray earpieces must no longer be used. Keep your earpiece away from all microphones at all times. When you are not using your earpiece, place it face down on the sticker placed on the table for this purpose. Thank you for your cooperation. So today's meeting is taking place in a hybrid format. To ensure that the meeting runs smoothly, I would like to make a few comments for the benefit of members. Please wait until I recognize you by name before speaking. For members in the room, please raise your hand if you wish to speak. For members on Zoom, please use the raise hand function. The committee clerk and I will manage the speaking order as best we can, and we appreciate your understanding in this regard. I might remind you that all comments should be addressed through the chair. So we are meeting today pursuant to Standing Order 106-4. The committee is meeting to consider a request to call the Minister of Public Safety and the Minister of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, alongside officials from relevant federal departments and agencies to testify to discuss security concerns. We'll go now to Ms. O'Connell.
Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Caputo on a point of order.
Yes. Thank you, Chair. I believe that it was 4 Conservative members and 1 member from the NDP, Mr. McGregor, who requested this meeting pursuant to Section 106 sub 4 of the standing orders, and I believe it would be convention to give the floor to the parties that requested it.
Thank you. But Ms. O'Connell did get my attention first, and we will take this in order of as best we can manage things. So,
point of order. I move to challenge the chair's ruling on that, please.
The question is, shall the decision of the chair to give the floor to Ms. O'Connell be sustained? If you vote yay, it's to support this decision of the chair. You vote nay, is against it. Madam Clerk, if you would take the roll, please.
Mr. Bittle?
Yes.
Mr. Gahir?
Yes.
Mr. Erkin-Smith?
Yes.
Ms. O'Connell?
Yes.
Ms. Zaid?
Yes.
Mr. Caputo?
No.
Mr. Giovanni?
No.
Mr. Motz?
No.
Mr. Shipley?
No.
Madame Michaud?
Madame Michaud n'est pas là. C'est plutôt moi, Monsieur Fortin, qui la remplace.
Ms. Michaud is not there. I will be voting no.
Donc, Monsieur Fortin n'a pas reçu une substitution.
Mr. Fortin, we did not receive a request for substitution from your party, so I cannot register your vote.
Yes.
Yeas pour 6-6, nays contre 4-4.
Thank you. Now the chair is...
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move, and I have copies for the benefit of committee, that pursuant to Standing Order 1082, that the committee invite as soon as possible the Minister of Public Safety, the Minister of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, and relevant departmental officials to discuss the foiled terrorist plot in Toronto, the security screening process in place to review permanent resident and citizenship application to ensure that individuals who have engaged in acts of terror are unable to enter Canada, and why Ahmed Fuad Mustafa El Didi was admitted to Canada. And I have copies in both official languages.
It was distributed. So there is a motion on the floor, and any speakers to this motion? Mr. Caputo?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'm just wondering if we could have a minute or two to review the motion, please.
Yes, we'll suspend for a couple of minutes. Meeting suspended. So we have a motion that was made by Ms. O'Connell And some of our colleagues have taken a few moments to review it. And so at this point, we're looking for debate or a vote. Mr. Caputo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would move an amendment to the motion put forward by Ms. O'Connell. My understanding is that this will be supported, I hope, by the all opposition parties. I have provided a copy to Madam Clerk in reference to this amendment, and this amendment would state after Citizenship Canada, or pardon me, the Minister of Immigration and Citizenship Canada, and add former Minister of Public Safety and current High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Ralph Goodale, Commissioner of the RCMP, Michael Dehem, Interim Director of CSIS, Vanessa Lloyd, President of the CBSA, Aaron O'Gorman, Deputy Minister of Public Safety, Sean Tupper, Deputy Minister of Deputy Minister of Public Safety, Sean Tupper, Deputy Minister of Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada, Dr. Harpreet S. Kocharan, and relevant department officials. And then adding later, after enter Canada, comma, and then adding how Ahmed Fuad Mostafa Al-Didi was admitted to Canada, and insert obtained citizenship.
And that's distributed? Okay, thank you. Mr. Davina?
Giovanni.
Sorry,
Yes.
I apologize.
No problem,
go
Mr.
ahead.
Chair. So I think the primary thing worth highlighting in the amendment that we have put forward to Ms. O'Connell's motion is a sense of urgency and a comprehensive review of the systemic failures that occurred in this case. Of course, all Canadians are alarmed by what we've learned in news reports concerning the foiled terrorist plot organized by ISIS and allegedly involving Al-Didi. But those of us in the Toronto region are particularly concerned given that the terror plot was targeting the region where we live and where we work. Mr. Al-Didi was arrested at a hotel in Richmond Hill on charges related to terrorism. He, according to court documents, was residing in Scarborough, or at least claiming to reside in Scarborough. So our communities are very concerned, and the urgency that is affirmed in the Conservative motion, amendment to this motion is critical to reflecting the concern that the broader Canadian public has, but certainly in the Toronto region in particular. We are very grateful that law enforcement has done its work to address the case and to foil the attempted terrorist plot. But ultimately, there is a lot of questions remaining. Are there threats remaining out in the country right now produced by the same systemic failures that allowed for Al-Didi to not only enter the country but also to obtain citizenship? Canadians deserve answers to these questions, and we believe that just as law enforcement is doing its work, that Parliament must do its work as well in pursuit of transparency, to prioritize public safety, give answers to the questions that Canadians have, and help Canadians feel assured that they are safe in this country.
Thank you. We go now to Ms. O'Connell, and note that we are debating the amendment at this time.
Thank you, Chair. We are supportive of these amendments, and as my original motion and our motion indicated, as well as Minister LeBlanc's public statements, that indeed Canadians deserve answers, and including a response to, in a letter to Mr. Caputo just yesterday from the Minister, explaining exactly that we are committed to providing this information. And so we welcome the opportunity to have these conversations. I think it's important to note as well in these conversations that the commitment to our national security is paramount. And in fact, I am very pleased to see the Conservatives finally realize that their cuts have consequences. And previously, under the Harper government, when they cut more than 1,000 CBSA employees, at the time, the president of the Customs and Immigration Union said, quote, "There will be little and in some cases potentially no investigating or surveillance being done to keep these criminals out of the country and out of our communities." Fortin also said, "If the government doesn't change the course and withdraw its plan to implement these cuts, the federal government will be putting the national security and public safety of our communities at risk," end quote. This is precisely why we have been making reinvestments to staff up CBSA to deal with the previous conservative cuts. And it's exactly why we continue to make investments through the budget, through the fall economic statement, which Conservatives voted against. So we look forward to having these meetings so Conservatives can truly appreciate that their cuts have consequences to our national security and the safety of our communities. So we are very supportive of these amendments and having that conversation. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Caputo on the point of order.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I realized that when I was reading in my amendment, this is on the amendment that was sent to Madam Clerk, but I did not, I neglected to read in one of the lines which spoke to the timing of the meetings. So if the amendment is distributed, just if people could pay attention to that and what is distributed in the proposed amendment shall carry. That's what's ultimately important. And that is with respect to 2 meetings the week of August 26th. Apologize, I'm just trying to find the last version. It would be have 6 meetings with 2 the week of August 26th and priority given to the minister's appearances, and then moving forward.
Thank you. And so I had you on the list for speaking.
So I point of order just procedurally on that.
Yes, on the same point of order.
Thank you. I do see that what was sent had timing, but what was read into the record was different and obviously prior to my comments. So I would just ask that would have to be a sub-amendment after we vote on these main amendments, or if you could confer and confirm for us if that requires a sub-amendment, since it wasn't read into the record.
I think that's a fair point. Mr. Caputo, would you like to move that as a sub-amendment?
Well, the amendment is what will ultimately be sent around by the chair. I believe that would be the sub-amendment. That's what ultimately the motion would look like. So I would move that my motion or my sub-amendment would be what was sent to the chair.
Okay. Is that works?
Sure, whatever.
So,
procedurally, it's wrong. And they would never let us get away with reading into the record one thing and submitting something else.
I accept that. So the points that you just made, we will take that as a sub-amendment, and we will. So the debate now is on the sub-amendment. Is there any debate on the sub-amendment?
Point of order, Chair. I don't believe I moved a sub-amendment. What I was doing was clarifying the amendment. I neglected to read one thing in.
I think Ms. O'Connell's point is valid, that what was read into the record was not what was distributed. And the motion, the amendment you read into the record was not what you just said. So I'm certainly happy to consider what you just said as a sub-amendment to your amendment.
Is there unanimous consent to accept it?
I suppose we could ask for unanimous consent. Do we have unanimous consent to accept this Mr. Caputo's sub-amendment? No.
I would challenge the chair's ruling on that then.
What is the challenge?
The challenge is as to what the substance of the amendment is, as to whether what was sent to the chair is ultimately the amendment to the motion.
Okay, so the question is, shall the decision of the chair to regard the latter remarks of Mr. Caputo as a sub-amendment, as a proposal for a sub-amendment, shall that decision be sustained? To vote yes, you sustain the decision of the chair that it is in fact a sub-amendment, and if you vote no, you override the chair. So, Madam Clerk, if you would take the roll.
Mr. Biddle,
Yes.
Mr. Gahir,
Yes.
Mr. Maloney,
Yes.
Ms. O'Connell,
Yes.
Ms. Zaid,
Yes.
Mr. Caputo,
No.
Mr. Giovanni,
No.
Mr. Motts,
No.
Mr. Shipley,
No.
Monsieur Fortin,
Non.
Miss McPherson.
Yes.
Yeas pour 6, nays contre 5.
Thank you. So the decision of the chair is sustained. Your remarks will be taken as a sub-amendment. So the decision now, the debate now is on the sub-amendment.
Point of order, Chair.
On point of order?
Yes, Chair, I just, would it not make procedural sense? Because what was written, what the clerk has is the substance of the motion, of the amendments to the motion. Would it not make sense for that to be read in now and be accepted as the sub-amendment? Or to the amendment to the Liberals' motion? Would that not be a reasonable point to take now? Because the clerk has it, we've all received it, and rather than debating a sub-amendment to an amendment, it's what's available to all the committee should be considered to be the amendment.
Well, those are interesting arguments. However, this decision is, and supported by the committee, that it is a sub-amendment. So we are on the sub-amendment. If there is no debate on the sub-amendment, we'll take a vote on the sub-amendment. Is there any further debate on the sub-amendment? So I'll call a vote on the sub-amendment.
Mr. Biddle,
Yes.
Mr. Gahir,
Yes.
Mr. Maloney,
Yes.
Miss O'Connell,
Yes.
Ms. Zaid,
Yes.
Mr. Caputo,
Yes.
Mr. Giovanni,
No.
Mr. Motts,
Yes.
Mr.
My
Shipley,
bad.
Yes.
Monsieur Fortin,
Oui.
Miss McPherson,
Yes.
I'm going to take it that Mr. Giovanni's vote is yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Sometimes we make mistakes.
So, yeas pour 11, nays contre 0, aucun.
Okay, so the amendment as sub-amendment is as Mr. Caputo has distributed. And so now the debate continues on the amendment as sub-amendment. Is there any further debate on the amendment? Seeing none, I shall call the vote.
Mr. Biddle,
Yes.
Mr. Gahir,
Yes.
Mr. Maloney,
Yes.
Miss O'Connell,
Yes.
Ms. Zaid,
Yes.
Mr. Caputo,
Yes.
Mr. Giovanni,
Yes.
Mr. Motts,
Yes.
Mr. Shipley,
Yes.
Monsieur Fortin,
Oui.
Miss McPherson,
Yes.
yeas pour 11, nays contre 0, aucun.
So the sub-amendment carries. So we now go back to the amendment, the original motion as amended, and sub-amendment, amended. So is there any further debate on the motion as amended? Seeing none, could we have a vote on a recorded division, please?
Mr. Biddle,
Yes.
Mr. Gahir,
Yes.
Mr. Maloney,
Yes.
Miss O'Connell,
Yes.
Ms. Zaid,
Yes.
Mr. Caputo,
Yes.
Mr. Giovanni,
Yes.
Mr. Motts,
Yes.
Mr. Shipley,
Yes.
Monsieur Fortin,
Oui.
Miss McPherson,
Yes.
Yes pour 11-11, nays contre 0, aucun.
Yes, so the the motion as amended passes. There's a motion to adjourn. All in favor? We all in favor?
Glenn, use your other arm.
I take that as we are now adjourned.